running, both feel we're living worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo, remembering what you said though. And I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw you coming. You were so wild, both know I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed. You know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. Trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be.
Hello, how's everyone doing? Hope you are well. Good to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today is February 1st, closer to spring. Thank you all for joining me. It's been a couple days since I've been on. I had to take a couple days off. Everything broke. Everything broke. My car has been giving me trouble, so it's time to trade it in. She's been a very good car, and I don't know, my hot water went out, and I don't have a hot water tank. I have like the instant, like you never run out of hot water. So those are a little bit harder to fix. So they had to order parts and all that. And then my phone quit charging. So I had to get a phone too. So yeah. Hope everyone is well. It's great to see everyone. So we're going to be talking about Alec Murdaugh. Lot to go over. I've been digging deep. Yes, Sally. I've been digging very deep into the Murdaugh. But guys, listen, as sad as it is, I've had so many requests to do stories on, and I'm going to also be covering a couple stories tonight after we do this on this live. After this live, I will be going live again. We'll be covering Summer Wells in that live. More really about Dawn and Candace than Summer Wells, particularly in this live, because I just have some things I need to say, to be quite honest with you. And of course, we'll try to do it with class, as we always do. Try. But we'll be going with Summer Wells after this live is done. But during this live, at the end of it, we're going to cover 3 or 4 missing or deceased kids. That's how many that we get every single day. It's just it's getting crazy now. It's just craziness is what it's coming up to. So without further ado, let's get on with the show here. So, make sure you can see this. So, Alex Murdaugh trial, greed, money, and power is what we have named it. Now, for those of you that don't know a lot about it, I'm going to give you just a little bit of insight. A little bit of insight on the Murdaugh thing. So at 10:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the evening of June 7, 2021, a frantic 911 call was placed from Moselle, which is the house is that's what they call their 1,700 acre hunting lodge is what they call it, hunting retreat farm. Alex Murdaugh claims he found his wife, son murdered after he says he went to his ill parents' home to check on them. Now, his mom had Alzheimer's and his dad was dying at the time, and I don't remember what. I think he had cancer, maybe. I don't remember, to be quite honest, but he was in hospice. Now, Paul Murdaugh, his son, Alex's son, was hit by a pair of shotgun blasts on that fateful evening, one to the head, the other one to the arm and chest. Maggie Murdaugh, who was killed by multiple rounds from a semi-automatic rifle around the same time her son was killed. At least 2 of Maggie Murdaugh's wounds were inflicted as she was lying wounded on the ground, consistent with the initial reports as an execution-style slaying. Now, 13 months later, in July of 2022, Alec Murdaugh, was charged by the Office of South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson with the murders of his wife and son. Alec has not pled guilty at all. He has not pled guilty, and he says he is fighting for his innocence. Now, the question is, if Alec didn't murder his wife and son, most of us can't even begin to imagine, a father, pointing literally a barrel down to his son. And, we just can't imagine anything like that, because it's brutal to do this to a stranger, but someone who you was literally riding around in a golf cart 1 or 2 hours previous to this. I mean, think about that. You was just riding around the 1,700 acre farm with your son, talking about things as the sun was going down. Now, that takes a lot of kahunas, and just incredible selfishness. So Alec is claiming he is innocent. Now, if Alec is innocent, who the hell did this? We're going to talk about that. I've got notes for days, people. Notes for freaking days. And I want to talk about some of this stuff too. Now, Alec did an interview. It was the one in the golf, or not the golf cart, the one in the night of the murders. And also, Alec had his attorney there. Now, I don't know about you, but I can speak for myself. Now, if my, God forbid, two of my loved ones in my immediate family were murdered, there's nothing wrong with him having a lawyer. I'm not saying that. You have the right. Maybe as a lawyer, he just naturally thinks of something like that. But that wouldn't be the first thing on my mind, was an attorney, with the cops whenever, I'm just trying to get this person. Not so it wouldn't be so much about myself. It would be find the mother Fletcher who did it, right? That's what most of us would think, at least in my opinion. But Alec, he had his attorney in the back, and all of that. So Alex says these are what he said in this interview. Alex says he knew, quote, something wasn't right when he got back home. So he says he left home, he went to his parents' house, his aging parents' house, to check on them. But he knew something wasn't right when he got back to the Moselle. When he saw his son Paul, after he goes in the house, nobody's home, he goes up to the dog kennels. He said, I could see, trigger warning, by the way, trigger warning. My channel is not for the faint of heart. I'm just going to, because we go through it all here. So if you're sensitive to these things, I'm just telling you, it's not, we go deep. We deep dive. So if you're sensitive to talking about these things, I just want to let you know. When he saw his son, he says, quote, I could see brains and some body things. Not somebody, some body things. Which is an interesting quote. Now, he was gunned down by such a powerful weapon that his head literally, quite literally, guys, when I tell you this, exploded. It busted his skull open. It detached his brain. His brain went in the air and it came back down. And the only thing that was left of his head was the front part, just the front part of his face. The back here was gone. It was completely gone. Completely. It severed the spinal cord and the brain stem area, severed it, completely detached it. He was, the only good thing about that, the way he died, is he didn't know what happened. Now, Maggie is a different story, but we're talking about Paul right now. He said he didn't see anything that was supposed to be like around the murder case. Like, was there anything there that was taken? These are what the investigators were asking him. Was there anything that was gone? And he said that he didn't see anything. It is I see a lot of that. It is a horrendous. But I also want to tell you that Alec had a night hunting scope. I have the name of that somewhere in my notes. It's like, I don't remember where it is, but he has a night hunting scope. And to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, I wonder if he used it. Which, to be honest with you, I don't agree with night hunting to begin with. I don't think it's fair, to the animals and stuff. To me, it's like a cheating way of hunting. Like if you're hunting like animals. Um, but nonetheless, Alec had a night scope. Now, Alec says his and his deceased wife, Maggie, their relationship was, quote, as good as it could be. Now, we know that that is not true. That is not true. By all accounts, allegedly, they were on the rocks. They had been very stressed out since the boating accident with their son. And I don't think, Maggie didn't know all of the stuff Alec had got himself into, now stealing from the firm and from his clients allegedly. People around the Murdaughs said Maggie's best friend said they were likely to separate, and I spelled separate wrong. Things had become really stressful since the boating accident, and they had grown apart. The night Alex asked Maggie to come over to the farm, Maggie had called or text her friend before going over and says she thought something was up. No, he said, hold on one second. He said with the relationships with Maggie, it was as good as it could be. And Paul, I forget what he said, how he said it. I've got the notes, but he said we can look at it. But regardless, either way, he said both of their relationships were superb. Now, to me, in my opinion, he is lying right off the bat to the investigators. And he would still be lying to this day, in my opinion, if that phone call or that phone recording that Alec is in when Paul is up there showing his friend the dog. That is one piece that, in my opinion, Alec's lawyers are going to have. I mean, they can try to brush it off and stuff, but in my opinion, as a juror, it was rumored, Texas, that they were going to go through a divorce. It was rumored that they were separating, but now Alex, during this time of the interview, Alec had brought up in the interview the boating accident, providing the cops with a possible motive on why Maggie and Paul were murdered. Alec speaks more specifically, the reason being Paul, talking about, which we will go into, about Paul had been bullied, he had been punched, and Alec is sure that Paul hadn't told him everything that Paul had been through. He also says that Paul was, kind of a man's man, but he couldn't really take up for himself right now because he was going through all of this, litigation and stuff with the boating accident. So he thought that someone may have been after them. And to be honest with you, the public did as well. For a long time, the public thought that it's people kind of always in the back of our heads. I think we thought, Alec may have done this, but we also thought, oh my God, Mallory Beach, she died in that boating accident. And you know what? They may, someone may have been trying to get justice taken in their own hands, right? Hello, good to see you, Trina. Good to see you. Hello, Auntie M. Good to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. You could have chosen to be anywhere in the world, and you chose to be here. And for that, I'm very grateful. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button on your way in. I would really appreciate it. So, a lot of people thought that they may have someone in the local area may have tried to take justice into their own hand and to unalive Paul. But then things kept trickling out when it comes to Alec Murdaugh. Things like, oh, I don't know, allegedly embezzling $9 million, and once that came out, once Mallory Beach's family and others on that boat filed a wrongful death lawsuit, and then this came out about Alec embezzling the money because they were asking for financials. Alec didn't want to give it to him. So that is motive to get rid of Paul, to get the case to go, he thought, and for sympathy. And where is the money? Where is the money? You're exactly right, Texas Angel. That's a question that nobody has been able to answer at this point. Nobody's been able to answer where that money has went. Yeah, he had a little bit of an oxy problem, right? He says, but you can't blow through, and this is 9 million that they can prove on the books. So if there's 9 million on the books, I mean, there's a lot more than that, right? If they have just not, there's always more than what's on the books. Quinny says to pay off people. That's interesting. Just a girl says the state has a $65 million lien. Now, Alex tells a story about his employee. His name is CV. Now, CV, he is the one that him and Paul, work on the hunting farm together, the 1,700 acre farm. And it's a wild, outlandish story. And the day before, his employee he told him a story that he got into a fight with some, quote, black guys. And this was, I don't know if it was days prior or years prior, but it was just like a week or so before all of this happened. That the CJ or CV got in a fight with some black guys, and that 2 undercover Navy SEALs saw him fight and wanted to recruit him to fight as a part of the radical Black Panthers fight against them from Myrtle Beach to Savannah, is what Alex says. And he is saying this to the investigators. The police officer said that they felt like this was a far-fetched story. And Alec even said, you guys might laugh at this, before he told the story. And to be quite honest with you, it is laughable. It is highly laughable. And for someone to be so educated in, in being an attorney and being well versed with the law, you would think he would pick up a better story than that, right? I don't know. But after Alex describes this whole story, this entire story that his his employee had told him, he says, now I really don't think the guy's the person. Quote. He said all this and he's like, but I don't really think he's the guy. So while his son and his wife lay dead on the ground, think of this, like literally on the same land that you are talking to them in their car, their bodies are still up at the dog kennels. You're sitting there talking to the officers in the car, and you have time to tell them this story that does not matter. That and you even said yourself, Alec, that you don't think it's nothing. That is just wild to me. He just goes on and on about the story, and it's just like, but I don't think that's the person, but I know you guys have to check it out. It's it literally baffles my mind. It literally, he's telling them a story that does not begin to matter. It reminds me of Lori Vallow. She didn't murder her husband, even though they hadn't said she had. Yes, exactly, just a girl. Now, Alex then says that his employee, his name is CV, is what they call him, who works at the place, says he took his daddy to the doctor today and he was off work. So he says this story, and then he says he doesn't believe that this guy's it, but he was off work and he had to take his daddy to the doctor today. So we just gave CV a freaking alibi. You know what I mean? And he's still saying that he doesn't believe it's him. I mean, someone who's like this big macho, killer from Myrtle Beach to Savannah doesn't sound like he's taking his daddy to the doctor, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It just doesn't sound like he's taking daddy to the doctor every day. Alex said he had talked to CV on his way to check on his parents. So it's just ludicrous. He says he doesn't know where CV lives. Alex states Paul and CV got along really well. And this is, we're talking about the thermal scope for hunting at night. The scope is heat sensitive, 300 blackout. I don't know if that's the gun or the scope, to be quite honest with you. I'm not a hunter, but that's what it said. Alec also, he has an attorney with him during the interview. Again, it's not a crime to have an attorney, but to me, it just screams like it was, it was kind of soon. You know what I mean? Like they was just, he's, if Alec is claiming to be all innocent and everything, I mean, I just don't see why he has. I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's not a crime and it doesn't make him any other things, but I'm just saying. Is that strange? Would most people have an attorney with them after one of their loved ones were murdered? And either way, whether, I don't know. I'll keep it. So the police note that Alex, they noted that Alec, his breath became very shallow when SLED started working the case or working the scene. They also say that Alec would look out of the side of his eye, out of the corner of his eye, like he would be looking down or something. He would be trying to look out of the side of his eye, trying to, pick up what they're putting down, more or less, like what are these guys doing? And, that would be something that is kind of, it's questionable, right? It's very questionable. So the group phone calls. I planned, this was with John, Maggie, Alex, Lynn, and Liz. And hold on. Sorry. So John Maven, this is Alec, his brother. Maggie, obviously, is his wife. Of course, we got Alex, and then Lynn and Liz. I don't know if that is his sisters. I honestly don't know. And it was, I plan to go over to see Dad this afternoon. Is anyone else planning on going? And this is from John, which is Alec, his brother, at 8:31:01 on 6/7/21. Now, this is the phones that sorry, I was distracted with something. This is the phones that, this is Maggie's phone and how everything went down. And it kind of, your electronics are telling a story constantly, even when I'm picking it up like this, when I drop it, when I'm turning it right now, it's telling a story inside that we don't even realize that's going on. These things are becoming, they'll catch you. They'll catch you, right? And this is very important with Maggie. You can almost tell the second that Maggie falls to the ground. And it's just, it's amazing how these forensics is now. So at 7:50 p.m., she calls Barbara, and she has a conversation for 2 minutes and 46 seconds. And that is her best friend, Barbara. And this was the phone call that she kind of said, Alec, he wants me to come over to Moselle. Something's got to be up, because, it was rough between them, between Maggie and Alec at the time. She felt like something was up. I mean, she had been married to this man for decades, right? They have children together. She knows this man. Now, 8:15 p.m., which is 25 minutes later or so, she arrives at Moselle. Okay. Now, at 8:17 p.m., I don't know if she is probably charging her phone in the car, and she unplugs or stops charging her phone. See, it's always telling a story. Our phone knows the time that we charge it, the time we unplug it. It's always telling a story. 8:17 to 8:18:29, she walks approximately 38 footsteps. Now, this is probably footsteps to go in the house, or who knows. 8:30 to 8:40, or sorry, 8:30 to 8:33, she walks another approximately 43 steps. Now, the steps are not exact. They're never. Am I cutting out? Hold on. Is that better? I'm cutting out. I'm not cutting out. I see both. Okay. Sound was fine. One day for the trial at 6-hour 44-minute mark, Alec says Paul had this little light like what I used to in my night. What night was he talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Dodo. Okay. So now 8:31, the group text comes in again, and it is a group text that says the brother says, hey, I plan on visiting Dad tomorrow. Anyone want to join? And 8:49 comes around, and Liz, which I think is their sister, says, I'm in court all week. 8:49:27. At 8:49:31, her phone locked. 8:53, her display went off. That's actually 8:53:08. And then at 8:53:24 is an orientation change. phone camera. Okay. Orientation change is moving it, right? And then 8 from, what is it, landscape to, I forget what the other one's called. Landscape. This one's landscape, and the other one is, someone will know in chat. 8:34, or sorry, 8:54. The phone camera is on for less than 1 second, looking for a face. You know, most of you probably have portrait. Thank you. Portrait to landscape. Thank you. Most of us have a phone where, you know, it sees our face, it unlocks it. It's artificial intelligence. It is what it is, right? But the camera was on for 1 second, looking for her face. The lock failed. $8.54, the phone orientation changed again. So right here at 8:53:24, when the orientation changed, you know, she either had it in her hand, she had it in her pocket, somewhere. And I think that is when she fell, right? She fell. And then the orientation changed. And then at 8:54:34, in my opinion, which is, I think this is what the jury is, or the prosecution's trying to say as well. At 8:54, someone is looking at the phone, trying to see, and it, you know, there's an app that you can get. I wish Maggie had that app too. I thought about it today. I wish I had that app. If someone is trying to get in your phone, it'll take a picture. It will take a picture of who that person is trying to get in your phone. And I would like, damn, that would have busted him wide open. You know what I mean? So, but in my opinion, Alec was trying to get in the phone at that time again. 8:54:40, there's another orientation change. Right? Alec is maybe putting it back or whatever. Now, 9:04:23, I think maybe Alec is just trying to see if her phone was still, you know, was her phone still on? Was it charged or whatever? He calls Maggie from his phone. Calls her from his phone. This is just a few minutes later. That is the first missed call from Maggie. Why? Because she's dead. Obviously, she's dead. And we kind of know exactly 8:53:24, like literally down to the second, because of these phones. You know, we have wearable technology now. We have the wearable watches. It'll tell you when your heart stops beating. It'll tell you when your blood pressure's up. It'll tell you how well you sleep, right? So we got it down to the second. Now, 9:06, the phone was picked up again, and it traveled for so many footsteps. Incoming call Alex at 9:06:51, which was, 30 some seconds. 30 seconds. And you're telling me, in my opinion, that this man was not there at least during those murders? I mean, that's not, in my opinion, saying he did it, but it is saying that that man was there during those murders. It may not say that he did it, but there better be someone else there with the damn cell phone around if it wasn't you. (9:06:51). Alex is calling again. Alex is calling again. Is someone talking about drama? This is the Zen Crime Channel. We don't do drama. We save the drama for the drama channels. I wonder if Buster thinks his dad is innocent. I've wondered that myself, Fluffy. And I think, to be quite honest with you, as intelligent as Buster is, I think he knows his dad did it, in my opinion. I have no evidence to base that on, just purely speculation. But I also think that he has nobody left. He has literally nobody left. His dad is most likely going to prison for the rest of his life. Whether he's going to prison for murder or one of the other 90 charges. Or something else. But his mom is gone, his only brother is gone, and his dad's probably going as well. And that's the only family that he has, hey Susan, left. So I don't know how you would navigate that. And Buster, I feel really, really bad for him. I mean, how can anyone not feel bad for that kid? Like, I get it. He had it rather easy his first several, years of life. He may have been considered what we call spoiled by many accounts. But damn, it's not like that anymore. It's certainly not like that anymore for Buster. Because everything he's lost. And Alec is literally the crap stain of the Murdaugh family for generations. His family was literally like a local king, a local for generations, literally 90 years. Not a contested they were always voted the entire generations, 3 generations. And now Alec has spoiled that for generations to come. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So 9:06:51, Alec is calling for the second time. Approximately 10 seconds later, the display turns most likely off. And 9:08:58, a minute and 58 seconds later, Alec calls again. For the third time. Now, people's like, well, what is the motive for Alec doing this? Well, the motive is to save his own ass, quite frankly. Lisa, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Brothers and sisters, say hello to your new sister, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. Welcome, my dear child. Thank you for that, Lisa. I appreciate it. If anyone wants to become a member, we are accepting new family members. We always need family members. We definitely want to be have a big family here. So if you want to become a Justin for All family member, for just cents a day, you can feed a starving YouTuber. Missed you, Jenna. Good to see you, honey. All right, and this is Paul. His is much more simpler. 7:56 p.m. Paul videos his friend, and on the video you can hear him and his father, Alec. Right there is a big shock to Alec when they hear that. When they was giving over Discovery, I bet you Alec shit his britches. Like, I literally bet you he shut his britches right there. Now, and the crazy thing is, they sound just like a normal family. But within just a few minutes, everyone's life there would end or change forever. So 8:40, Paul calls Rogan G. Rogan is Paul's best friend or one of his friends. He's taking care of one of his dogs, and he thinks something is wrong with the dog's. I want to say it's like his tail or something like that. Oh, by the way, in that recording, one of the dogs killed either a chicken or a guinea, and that is likely why they were cleaning it up with water, and that's why there was water around their bodies. And truthfully, the defense is they don't like talking about the water around that body, because you can hear that recording talking about, oh, well, that's a chicken, that's a guinea, it's dead, the dog killed it, you know what I mean? And what are you going to do? You're going to clean it up with water and stuff, right? So they don't want to talk about that water. You hear a lot of objections, Your Honor, when you hear about that, talking about the cleaning it up. Now, so Paul calls Rogan at 8:40 on the dot. 8:44:55, Rogan text, quote, "See if you can get a good pic," end quote, and that means a good pic of the dog. Now, 8:49:01. Paul's phone locks. 9:10 p.m. Missed call from Rogan. 9:29, second missed call from Rogan. 9:42, third missed call from Rogan. 9:47, fourth missed call from Rogan. 9:58, text from Rogan, yo. Because I know Rogan's like, what the hell? We were just talking. Like, where'd you go, dude? You know what I mean? So this tells a story, and he literally is dead right after, between 8:40 and 8:48. We know Paul is instantly dead. Instantly dead. And this was just going over again, which we don't really need to talk about it. The cell phone and stuff like that. Here is actual evidence photos. I do want to warn people in the audience, you are going to see blood. You are going to see biohazardous material, right? In a crime scene, and you are going to see some crime scene pictures in here. So if you are, sensitive to that kind of stuff, you may want to come back at a later time. Okay, so this is Maggie's phone, and you can see John, Alex, Randy, and all of them. Alex, call me, babe. There's all, when a husband gets rid of their wife, there's always that voicemail or that text message. Oh, babe, just checking on ya. Hope you're okay. Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson, all of those. It's always that type. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you. And next, okay. We can go over these in a little bit if you want. This is more than 70 charges against the disgraced South Carolina lawyer alleged he defrauded victims out of nearly $9 million. One conspiracy regarding the distribution and purchase of oxycodone, 2 counts of homicide. He defrauded the victims $8,875,944. Murdaugh was accused of defrauding 4 victims out of $2.6 million in various schemes throughout the state of South Carolina between 2011 and 2017. All 4 of his alleged victims were Murdaugh's clients at the law firm where he worked, and is accused of spending the victim's compensation and trust checks for his own personal use, according to the indictments. Murdaugh allegedly converted one victim's $325,000 compensation check from an injury from a vehicle collision into money orders made to his own family members. In a different indictment involving the family of the victim who died in a vehicle collision, Murdaugh allegedly used a trusted account check for over $300,000 to pay off personal business loans and to obtain cash for himself and a family member. The indictment are add to several other issues of November and December, which all together bring 75 charges against Murdaugh, including counts of money laundering, forgery, and computer crimes. Murdaugh is also facing charges from his alleged role in diverting millions from his former housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, wrongful death settlement. Satterfield fell at the Murdaugh residence in February of 2018 and later died from her injuries. Her sons, who claimed they didn't know of the existence of the $4.3 million settlement until 2021, and they never received the money. $8 million. I think that they received the money now. I think that is finally settled, though. I'm pretty sure it's settled now. Uh, that's how much money the Murdaughs allegedly swindled from the victims, according to the South Carolina Attorney General office. Murdaugh's law firm flagged the case files in an internal investigation. It is believed that the amount was stolen is roughly $1 million. In the 11-count indictment filed in April in the state attorney general's office, accused uh, Murdaugh and a third alleged co-conspirator, Corey Fleming, another lawyer who represented Pamela Pinkney, Pinkney, to the tire lawyer, a breach of trust with fraudulent intent, computer crimes, and criminal conspiracy. Murdaugh, Lafayette, and Fleming worked together to steal some of the settlement money owed to the Pinkerdys, including $309,581 that was used in part to pay a Murdaugh family member and to pay off the conservatorship, according to Murdaugh's previously borrowed money from. Fleming also is accused of failure for disbursement $130,192 to Pinkerty and using part of it to pay a debt owned to a private plane company for a charter flight for him, Murdaugh, and another lawyer to go on a 2012 College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Separately, the indictment says Fleming transferred money to a supposed, quote, case expense for Pamela Pinkerty, end quote, account in which the money was converted for Murdaugh's personal use. Hangame's case, he added, is especially heart-wrenching because they realized here is a deaf quadriplegic young man, and after he died, they stole the money. They literally stole the money from a deaf quadriplegic young man, and after he died, they stole the money. I want you guys to think about that for one moment. Think about that. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. That is a sin. To steal some posh assholes, stealing from someone who is, came to them in their most vulnerable state, quadriplegic. Yeah. No. And then after they died, they was just literally waiting for the man to die so they could steal the money. The man never got his settlement. Yes, it is, Pat. Yes, it is. So, listen. I hope this man does not get away with murder. I pray to God he doesn't get away with murder. But if he did, he's still got a lot he's going to have to go through. And Gloria Satterfield worked as a nanny and housekeeping at the Murdaugh family home. After falling down 8 stairs, Gloria died on February 26, 2018 from her injuries. She was only 57 years old. Murdaugh allegedly approached Satterfield's son, Tony Satterfield, and Brian Harriet not long after her death and was convinced them to sue his own insurance, after which he allegedly conspired with a longtime friend, Beaufort County attorney Corey Fleming, over here, to steal the death settlement and insurance payouts. Both Murdaugh and Fleming have been indicted in the case and suspended from practicing law. And Murdaugh, through his counsel, apologized to the Satterfield family during a December 13th, 2021 bond hearing. Quote, a loving mother, sister, aunt, friend, Gloria was honest, hardworking, and deeply faithful. Gloria touched everyone she met and left every place she visited better by her presence. And Gloria loved Christmas. According to her family, Satterfield loved the joy of Christmas and giving to others. Gloria's Gift Foundation will assist struggling Hampton County families in providing a special gift at Christmas. Hampton County is one of the poorest counties in South Carolina as well. Yep, Kevin. You're exactly right. So Corey Fleming, 3 counts of false statements or imprisonment in connection with an insurance transaction, 50,000 or more, 4 counts of breach of trust with fraudulent intent of 10,000 or more, 3 counts of breach of trust with fraudulent intent between 2 to 10,000, 3 counts of money laundering more than 100,000, 3 counts of money laundering between $300 to $20,000, and 1 count of a computer crime with more than $10,000. Alex Murdaugh, former bank CEO Russell Lafayette, and Corey Fleming on a total of 30 criminal charges, including breach of trust, conspiracy, and computer crime. In total, he has been indicted on 18 charges of defrauding victims of $3,623,431.95. Fleming was a Beaufort County attorney, one of Alex Murdaugh's closest friend, and godfather to his son Buster. Corey also, I believe, went to school with Alec Murdaugh, and he was roommates with him as well. His total to 30 charges is alleged scheme to defraud 2 former clients of nearly $3.7 million, misappropriating more than $100,000 from a client settlement in 2012 to 2017, using $8,000 to hire a private plane to fly himself, Murdaugh, and his friend to a 2012 College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, helped Alec Murdaugh to steal the Satterfield family entire $4.3 million settlement. On October 8, 2021, the South Carolina Supreme Court suspended his law license. January 11, 2022, Corey Fleming had lost his law license and suspended the Georgia Supreme Court. March 16, 2022, Fleming was indicted on 18 charges involving the theft of more than $3 million in insurance money, from Glory Satterfield family. May 4th, 2022, the South Carolina State Grand Jury indicted Alex Murdaugh and his former CEO, Russell Lafayette, and Corey Fleming of a total of 30 criminal charges, including breach of trust, conspiracy, and a computer crime. So this is where they testified. Oh, let me take this down. I'm sorry, I didn't know I had those up. Hey, Kiwi girl. Oh, I'm sorry, SB. That's sad. You know, that's the thing. I mean, you don't kick someone while they're down. You just don't. You just don't kick someone while they're down. Like I wouldn't kick my worst enemy while they're down, to be honest with you. You just don't kick someone while they're down. You just don't, and it's sad. It's really sad. Now here is some evidence photos of underneath the shed here of the Alec Murdaugh trial, and this is most likely Maggie's flip-flops, sandals, I guess you could say. You can see where they go this way and where it looks like she kind of turns around and she's walking this way back in. Here it is. You can tell they look very, very similar. Here is an example of why is that clock thing you keep doing it? I don't know. Evidence here is a shotgun, and this shotgun did damage. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, sneaker prints, yeah. And I just feel very, very sorry about and then this is like underneath the shed, and then there's the dog kennels and all that, and I put this thing backwards. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. Pictures of the dog kennels. Maggie loved dogs. She was a huge dog fan, I guess you could say. And I kind of wonder, like, did Alec, tell her that something was wrong with one of the dogs or something to get her to come out there? Now here is, I forget it's a spent shell casing. I forget what they're called. Oh, right now I can't think. And this is, I mean, that is humongous. Can you imagine what that did to Paul? Right beside dog food. Victor dog food. And can we zoom in? Yeah. Here you see some parts of the, and here as well, some parts of the pellets that are in the bullets. Wadding. Thank you. Yes, it's called wadding. Thank you. That's what it's called. The technical term is wadding. And his son really was Kevin. And it's really sad. Now, listen, did Paul, Paul was not liked by a lot of people. And that's just the truth of it. But it doesn't matter. Your dad shouldn't murder you, right? Allegedly. It's not the way that it works. Hey, Muscles, can you text me in a little bit, dear? I need to ask you something. I may be down that way really, really soon, but I need to talk to you about the Summer Wells case, if you don't mind, my dear. Because I called someone today, and I may need your help. So, work on a little project together, maybe. And this is literally his son. And this was the doorstep. Why does this clock keep coming on? I don't know. This is the doorstep, and this is exactly where Paul died. Awesome, Muscles. Good. It's I can't imagine. I mean, if you look just like, oh, hold on. I'm trying to, it won't let me zoom. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm trying to zoom in, but if you can see here, I mean, there is literally blood and brain matter everywhere, like literally everywhere. It's really that bad. His brain came out of his head, literally went in the air, disconnected. How many dogs did they have? They had a lot of dog food. Here is photos of Maggie's phone. I feel like Maggie was a good woman. I really do. I feel like she was a good woman, and she did her motherly thing, and she came from a really good family as well. It says Maggie Murdaugh. Apple ID, Cloud Media, purchase, and then calls from Alex, Buster, and John. Oops. Okay. Here is a outline. Someone did this on, I think, Reddit. So credit goes to them. The main house, I mean, this is where they were hanging out, right? The main house is way down here. I mean, you guys got to realize this is 1,700 acres that they have. It is very vast. It's humongous. He couldn't have pulled the trigger himself. He had someone else to do it. Why do you think that, Miss Winters? Who in the world can someone do that? Yeah, it's a good question. That's a lot of land. 1,700. So they got like a parking structure here. Maggie's body is found over here. Here is the feed room, which is what we just saw in the kennels. Paul's body is right here. Here's the hangout and workshop. And this is the road that the police came in. It's beautiful land, right? They planted all kinds of trees. It's a paradise. Okay, here's the hangar and the overhang where you can go underneath, where we saw some of those tracks where Maggie looked like she was going through and she turned around and went back. I can't imagine, her last moments. I just can't imagine, because Maggie knew what was going on. That's the incredible thing about it. Was going on. And she fell to the ground and she got back up, and then she's leaning like on her arm is on her leg, and she's like, and then somebody is over top of her, behind of her, and shoots her like execution style 2 more times. There is nothing more important than your family, folks. There is nothing. There's just nothing more important than your family. And you see, the most people would sleep under a paper bag if they had their family, rather than being alone and living like a king. I know I would rather be with my family than to be alone. And this man would rather have, in my opinion, the memories of allegedly blowing his son's head off and his wife, still knowing that he could still get in trouble. That's right, Grandma Bunny. That's right. That's exactly right. And this is the thing. Alec thought this was going to be his cure for sympathy and to get rid of the problem. Yeah, Buster, I don't know if he was in Colombia. I think he was in Colombia, or maybe it was Charlotte. I don't remember. But he wasn't around. Now, a lot of people think Alec is, fake crying and stuff. And I think a lot of it, in my opinion, he's doing it for the jury. Yes, he is doing a lot of it. Because you'll notice, and I want you guys to notice this. Oh, Pat, bless you. I want you to notice this when you watch that tomorrow. Alec, he'll be crying. He'll be crying. And just like the cop said, he'll look out of the corner of his eyes, but he'll look up. He'll do this. And then he'll kind of look over and he'll look at the jury. Mark my words, tomorrow, mark them. You're going to notice it. He'll be doing this. And then he'll be like, And some of you, I'm sure you've already noticed that, but mark my words, he'll do it tomorrow. He checks to see if they're buying it. Yep, and rocking. It is annoying. It is annoying. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you, honey. I'm like, dude, get a life. Here is hangars, overhang, and ATV parking area. This is the road the police came up in right here. Maggie's body to the right of doghouse, not under overhang. There's the old doghouse. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Here is some of the evidence, some unspent shells and some more shells. Yeah, I think I don't buy it. I mean, I don't buy into his BS, to be quite honest with you. Don't buy it. Now, let me tell you about old Curtis freaking Edwards. Let me tell you about this dude. He is Cousin Eddie, literally. Curtis Edwards Smith is a distant relative and formal legal client to Alex Murdaugh. Now, you'll notice a pattern, Alec. A lot of people came to him and he would end up using them. He would either end up using them for his money, taking their money, or to do some dirty deeds, allegedly. On September 4th, 2021, Alec Murdaugh was shot in his head while changing a tire. It was later revealed that Alex Murdaugh had hired Eddie Smith to shoot him in the head as a form of assisted unaliving himself, which would allow his son Buster Murdaugh to access his $10 million life insurance. On September 14, 2021, Smith was arrested and charged with assisted unaliving himself, unaliving rather, Alex. 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. My kids. Apologize. On September 14th, okay, I already read that part. No, I didn't. On September 14th, Smith was arrested and charged for trying to unalive Alex, assault, battery, and of a highly aggravated nature, pointing and presenting a firearm, insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud in connection with the shooting of Alex Murdaugh. Over Labor Day weekend, he was also indicted on money laundering and drug traffic charges. Smith has denied that he shot Murdaugh. He said he did not fire a shot, saying Murdaugh called him on September 4th saying he needed Smith's help. Smith said he didn't think twice before heading to Hampton County Road to meet him, but he said when he arrived, Murdaugh emerged from a car holding a gun, claiming Smith claims that during a struggle, the gun went off. Then he said he disposed of the weapon. Who do you guys believe? Do you guys believe Cousin Eddie or do you believe Cousin Murdaugh? Which one do you believe? Alex Murdaugh was his alleged accomplice. Curtis Smith had been hit with a new state grand jury indictment that included drug trafficking and running a long-time money laundering scheme involving $2.4 million in stolen money. Murdaugh wrote Smith 437 checks from 2013 to 2021 worth 2.4 million, and then Smith used the proceeds to help Murdaugh conceal a myriad of unlawful activities, quote unquote. According to the conspiracy indictment, nearly all of those checks written in the amount of less than $10,000 to prevent banks from having to report large currency transactions as required by the federal law, so as to detect people carrying out illegal activities. Curtis Smith has been subpoenaed as a potential witness in Alex Murdaugh's upcoming double murder case. Murdaugh defense team to shift blame for the gruesome slayings of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh toward Smith's fail. Smith failed a polygraph exam in May when the investigators asked whether he killed Maggie and Paul. Murdaugh attorneys have revealed in his recent filing, state grand jury chief prosecutor uh, something Waters noted that the polygraph tests are not accepted science or admissible in court. Now, there was 2 guns used. A lot of people think Alec had help, and he may have. He may have. But who knows? Eddie is the documentary for a men talking about this. I don't know. It's craziness is all I know. Just a beautiful place. I'm sure it's going to be up for sale very soon. Very, very soon. Regardless if Murdaugh gets out or not, because he's going to owe a lot of money to a lot of people. It's all going to be liquidated and sold. Sure. You think he shot Maggie and Eddie shot Paul? Very possible. There was 2. Did Alec take a lie detector test? I'm new to this case and haven't heard. I don't think he's taken a lie detector test. No. This is an actual outline of the 1,700 acres that he owns. This is an actual outline. Was Paul shot from inside the feed room, and do you think Maggie heard it and was coming to help, saw the gun, and turned around to try to get away? It's very possible. It's very possible. Yes, 1,700 acres. This is an outline of his 1,700 acres. I know that the lawyer has already been paid. Thank you, Cindy, for your super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, honey. Means a lot. This is a photo of their home that they had on the 1,700 acres. I am new here. My first comment. Could Alex have been thinking of killing himself after his wife and son were gone, but he chickened out just as I. After his wife and son. I mean, it's possible, Cindy. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your input. You're always welcome. This is like, I don't know if this is like a pond or a swamp that's on their property. Here's more of a, and look, okay, this is, so yeah. Is he did he get a toxicology test for drugs or alcohol? I mean, the daddy. I don't think they did a toxic, any type of drug test or alcohol on him. I don't think they did anything. And to be quite honest, it's the duck pond. Thank you, Fluffy. I know I think of alligators too, Sea Star. Ugh. Um, when I, what was I going to say? To be quite honest with you, I think that the police and SLED could have done better on this case. I think that they messed up in certain ways, the way they handled this case. But again, this is where power and privilege gets in the way. It gets in the way big time. Because, oh my God, this is a Murdaugh. He wouldn't, you know, I'm not going to, cover his hands and make him do this and make him do that. And it is what it happens, and it happens in every town in America. There's always families in every single town, in every single city in America, particularly small towns or medium-sized towns that, oh, those are the such and such, oh, those are the Murdaughs, oh, those are the, and they've had money for decades or centuries or whatever, and they get away with more than they should. Just in the Reuben Stephen Smith's case, they believe Buster was involved. He may be headed for his own problems soon. Possible. Possible. Uh, well, they found out something about Stephen Smith's murder in 2015, and I call it a murder, plain out. They found something a couple weeks later connected to Paul and Maggie's death, connected with Stephen Smith. And that is when they reopened this case from 2015. Yes, the real Me Too. I have followed it from the beginning. From the beginning. Oh my God, I talked about this so long. I want to go over a couple things real quick before I go live about Summer Wells here in a little bit, but I wanted to share a couple things in the news. 94-year-old former sheriff deputy pleads guilty to sex crimes with a juvenile under 13 years old. It does not matter where you live. There's dirty old men out there. It doesn't matter. So this is in Louisiana. A 94-year-old former sheriff deputy recently pled guilty to sex crimes with a minor under 13 years old and was sentenced to a decade in prison. He's 94. That's a life sentence. According to the district attorney's office, Otis Leroy Allen, who used to work as Bossier Sheriff's deputy, was able to access the victim as a, quote, family friend. He reportedly sexually abused the family victim, a fifth grade girl, at various locations around Sherman. Is it Sherman? Is that how you pronounce it?
Shreveport, I.
Shreveport.
D. Following his release from prison, the district
Shreveport in November 2019. On Monday, January 23rd, Allen reportedly pled guilty to indecent behavior with a juvenile under the age of 13, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison with all but 2 years suspended. What? Yeah. Oh my God. Following his release from prison, the district attorney's office says he'll have to serve 3 years of supervision and cannot contact the victim or her family. Additionally, Allen will be reportedly have to pay $5,000 in restitution to the victim and register as a sex offender for 25 years. There's your 94-year-old pervert in the news. He got sentenced 10 years, but he is only serving 2 years. So he'll be out when he's 96. Now, another story that I want to share quickly. I have a headache really bad. Detroit parents allegedly tortured, beat their 5-year-old son to death. Here they are. This is in Detroit, Michigan. A mother and stepfather, they're both 27-year-old. They are accused of beating their 5-year-old son and injuring their 3-year-old child. Prosecutors say on January 22nd, shortly after 1 p.m., Detroit police officers responded to a home on Spring Garden Street and transported a 5-year-old victim, Ethan Belcher, to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. The attorney's office said the surviving 3-year-old victim, who had apparent bruising on his head and face, was found at another location and transported to a local hospital as well. The suspects were identified as Valerina Hamilton and Ethan's biological mother, Shane Shelton, his stepmother. The attorney's office said Ethan had apparent marks on his body indicating a cord had been used to abuse him, the Detroit News reported. One of his toes was reportedly rotting and black, showing signs of gangrene. According to the Detroit News, authorities interviewed other kids in the residence who claim Hamilton and Shelton forced them to stay in the sewage water and feces filled basement where they would allegedly beat the children. Text messages reportedly reveal that Sheldon called the kids explicit names and used foul language to describe the children and their beatings. During the parents' arraignment, Wayne County Assistant Prosecutor's Attorney Matthew Makepeace reportedly said Hamilton texted Shelton and said she would, quote, slam their kids so hard their heads would pop off, end quote. According to the Detroit News, Wayne County Magistrate Joseph Boyer called the alleged abuse and torture, quote, quite disturbing. On January 25th, the attorney office and Shelton County, Hamilton, were charged with 1 count of felony murder, 2 counts of first-degree child abuse, 1 count of torture, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit torture. Let me see if I got this. So it is never ending. I have so many more that it's absolutely in freaking insane how many of these that people send me every day. It's incredible. So oh, well, welcome, my dear. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming by. Hope you come back again. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You could have chosen to be anywhere, but you chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful, and I mean it. I'll be back in a little bit. We're going to be talking about Summer Wells' case. We're going to be talking more about Dawn and Candace in this upcoming live. I need to say some things. That's all I'm going to say right now. Tony May, I've got that one. I've actually reported on that before. I need to love you all too. I just need to go fix my head for a minute. I've got a really bad headache. And I'll be back in a little bit. Probably 30, 45 minutes or so. I love you all. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hit that thumbs up, please. Please. I don't ask for much. Just hit the thumbs up. Love you all. Bye-bye.